Good day, guys. Welcome to week 3 of my Let's Play sort of updates. And here you can see behind me, I've been doing quite a bit of work, and you can see some building that's been done and some villagers moving around. So let's have a look at what I've gotten up to this week. Feel free to comment and if you've got any suggestions or anything, and let's have a look at all the villager stuff that I've been doing, because that's what I've actually been doing for the most part this week. Step 1 for me is just getting a basic sheep farm. I do all of my redstone building on wool, which I'll show you in a second, but really easy to make one with really not much resources. So got a cyan sheep, dyed him myself and slotted him into a hole. Wasn't exactly paying attention to what was happening around me, which is definitely a mistake. You can see the zombie sneaking up on me, and then this creeper spawns in, and it took me way too long to notice that it was actually right around the corner while I was fiddling around, and there he goes. Starting any build, I like to always have wool. That's what I do my redstone on, so you can see it's running through here, and it runs down, and all of my wiring and everything, all my parts, I always do on wool, just because then you can color code sections, and also when you're digging, you know, if you bump into something made of wool, probably shouldn't break that block because there might be some redstone on it. Wool's also not obtainable by Endermen. They can't grief it, so you know you're protecting all your stuff from Endermen and from yourself really as well. But that was always a good start to lead us into something a bit bigger, because this is what we then went into making. So next up, deleted some of the villager buildings that were still around. I sort of structured everything around where the houses were, so leaving that outside frame for the access, because I'll put a door in there. Might need to drop it down a little bit, and then bringing in the new floors in and around. So using spruce planks, building them at just half a slab up. I want to have everything quite dark. If you've actually been to Freo Prison, everything looks very dark, just because there's not a ton of lighting. And when it was originally built, obviously everything would have been done using I assume like oil or gas lamps. It's a bit old. And nowadays you can actually go at night and do a like torchlight tour where they have all the lights switched off, and you're just lighting your way with little flashlights they give you. So it makes it really eerie and gives it a lot of quite an interesting environment to be in, an atmosphere. That's the one. And they talk about the ghosts and everything of past inmates that haunt the halls. Obviously the actual lighting systems they've got in now are a lot more updated, because it was used as a prison until the 90s, but I wanted it to look quite creepy inside. So building in, I end up building 4 floors if you include the ground floor. So floors ground 1, 2 and 3. Oh, make that 5 floors, sorry. And so just plugging in all the cells, trying to sort of get the internal structure first, because I decided to use end brick and end stone, which has a similar sort of color and texture to limestone brickwork, and limestone that's sort of a bit old and starting to degrade a little bit and fall apart. It's not the worst building brick, but it does sort of get a bit chipped and stuff. It's not super strong like I guess granite is in real life. So plugging in all those cells, and then need to restock on endstone, which I'm just slowly cutting away. I really want to do a big project redesigning this area in the end with I'm feeling like tiered, maybe not gardens or something, but I essentially want to try and spawn proof it and make it a lot more greener. So there's going to be some sort of hill leading up to that end portal, which I'll need to have a bit of a design on, but we'll get there when we get there. because just all of the Endermen that spawn in and around it's a bit too many of them. But we definitely need to get an Enderman farm going. So many different farms that I just need to do. Sit down and list and work out if I'm going to do them at my starter base or when I start to work on my main base. But here I am plugging in all those walls around the outside, using the iron bars to fill in those little windows that we have. And I only went up the 5 floors. I don't think I want to go too much higher. It's definitely a bit too long and short and tall, or like thin and tall. I really want to push it out a few more cells just so that it looks a bit more appropriate for its size. But there we are. We pretty much now just need to slap a roof on it to complete this section of it. How I make it look a bit longer, I'm not too sure. Whether I only do a few floors out to the side, I guess we'll just have to find out. So everyone likes to joke about how difficult it is to get villagers to do what you want, but like if you're still early game and you don't have access to ridiculous amounts of iron or gold for like to send them around on rails and stuff, you can actually control them pretty well if you've got the time. So if you know that where we got a clock, so if you know that the sun's up, then you're pretty set with just like guiding them around using these those lecterns and everything. And the villagers will chase after that, or once it gets to sort of night time, then you go with the bed, because they will always pathfind towards the nearest bed. And you can actually, like with a bit of fendangling, like you can get villagers to do sort of what you want, which is how I've made these guys all get in their cells nice and kindly. And it took a while, like about 40 odd minutes to fill the 3 floors, but that was all actually just the amount of time it took to actually get the villagers. It wasn't struggling to move them around too much. Like for the most part they did what I want, but it was very much just the villagers weren't being bred fast enough for me to actually be able to move them into their cells. So it went alright, and it all in all only takes 2 minutes in a time lapse. So my plan was that I want to have 3 floors, so this sort of shows me getting the last couple of floors in, and it's not too hard. You send them along and get them to follow onto a work block. Every now and then I wasn't paying too much attention to the time with the clock, so they sort of start to wander and get a bit confused as it gets dark, because they're prioritizing their bed over the workstation. But you can see it, like they pathfind relatively alright, getting stuck a little bit, but they're moving along, getting up to the first level, and then I go through and start getting all their trades up so that I can get all of my emeralds, because that's what these sort of first 3 floors are for. Later on I'll definitely use them to get back equipment that I lose or break, but like mainly it's just so that I can get that one emerald, 1 iron trade. So I've got the iron pumping out from the iron farm, and that'll give me essentially the same number in emeralds rather than iron. For actual use of iron, I'll build a different iron farm actually at my main base, a Nembom designed one, but these guys, they're all pretty chill. The problem is though, so I've got my toolsmiths on the bottom floor, my weaponsmiths on the middle floor, and then I start to do, you can see one of them poking his head out, the armor dudes on the 3rd floor. And part of the issue with that is they don't always have the iron trade on their 2nd level. Not actually sure what the likelihood is of having it on that second trade, but I got quite lucky with my first 3 or 4 all having the iron trade, and then it took me the next, I don't know, pick a figure, 10, 12 villagers kindly using suffocation to I guess help them away from their head, is a nice way of putting it. But yeah, I had to keep killing them to without actually killing them, so sort of tricking the game into not blaming me because I don't want my villager trade hurt. But yeah, I had to keep doing that until I had enough trades. But it took a little while because I had to just start turning them over and over and over again. But we managed to get it done, and eventually I had all 3 of those floors filled out, which was pretty great. So that brings this monstrosity up to date, but in looking at it, I think it looks a bit too tall and thin. So you can see there on the side, I've started to map out where I'm gonna probably make it a bit smaller. I also figured that I've got this pipe here that used to be spitting out iron and roses, but now it's just spitting out the bone meal. And I actually went down, if I jump down here, and rerouted everything through. So we've got the poppies coming through here to go up, and then the iron goes through into a storage sort of silo over here with a few chests, so 1 on each level, which will hopefully fill up, and that'll give us all the emeralds we need. So these 3 levels are the ones that have the toolsmiths, the swordsmiths, and the armor smiths, I guess, and that's what we'll call them. And that'll give us all the emeralds, etc., that we need. And maybe we'll do something similar on this side with some sort of emerald silo, so we can access emeralds on every level. Emeralds and books would be quite useful if we're putting all of them on that side. And once we expand out past this wall, we'll be able to bring these guys down a little more as well. So I need to keep working through my spreadsheet, getting each of those villagers, those librarians, because we need a lot of them, and I'm getting pretty good. I've got a few of them, but there's always more that we need, so we'll get there eventually. And last but not least, I worked on down here in the dungeon area. This is going to be our gallows once we put in a little fence post down there and some rope maybe, but this is where our villagers, once we call them, will come up, they'll drop down, and we can kill them with the flick of that lever. Goodbye! He's dead. And down there he's converted into a zombie and sent over to this room for de-zombification. And the hopper goes back through all the way to the start. So a bit of decorating to do down here, and probably should heal this zombie actually now that I've zombified him. There we go, we got some potions of weakness. Boom. And we got some golden apples. And we got the iron bars around, so once that's all a bit better decorated, then we just need to work out a delivery system, because I want to elevate the zombies up so that they pop out somewhere up here. Maybe in that corner, which is a bit close to our iron farm, but we'll work it out. And that's what we got done this week. A lot of hard work with the villagers, but it was productive. This will make life super easy later on. A good villager setup is pretty game changing, because it just gives you so much access to blocks and stuff. So I hope you enjoyed watching this update. Feel free to find me on Twitch. I'm trying to get in a few streams a week. Didn't get so many in with all of this because it's not the most interesting of stuff, but I'm feeling some ancient cities and nether exploring this coming week, so feel free to catch me on there, and I'll keep posting these videos if you want to stay updated on just the weekly stuff. So I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. See ya.